Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the evolution of security automation. It's a story about moving from being completely overwhelmed to, well, overpowered.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the deep end, shall we? We have to start with a feeling that I'm sure is all too familiar for anyone in security, and that's burnout. I mean, look at the statistic, 71%. This isn't just a few people feeling stressed. It's a full-blown crisis, right? It's all about this relentless flood of alerts that keeps security teams stuck playing defense.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll tackle the crisis in the SOC. Then, we'll look at the first real answer to that problem, SOAR. After that, we'll talk about where SOAR kind of falls short. Then, the exciting part, AI joins the team. We'll see how that creates a smarter workflow, and finally, what this all means for the analyst of tomorrow. So, Section 1, the crisis in the SOC. Before we can even talk about solutions, we've got to understand just how big the problem is. Imagine being in a modern security operations center, the SOC. You're not just looking at data, you are literally drowning in it. So you might be wondering, what's the actual problem here? Well, the old school SOC model basically trains analysts to just react. It's all about chasing alerts. Your success isn't measured by how secure you are, but by how many tickets you can close. And that creates this vicious cycle, right? The analysts become the bottleneck, totally buried under a mountain of noise, instead of doing what they're actually brilliant at, proactively hunting for real threats. And this whole reactive thing, it's not just inefficient, it's completely unsustainable. The human cost is just, wow. We're talking about turnover rates hitting almost 40% in some places. And the financial hit? It's just as bad. We're talking $300,000 to $400,000 to replace one analyst. Think about that. When you use your best people as simple alert filters, you don't just lose some productivity, you lose your talent. Okay, so the industry is facing this massive crisis. Something had to be done. And the first big answer, the first attempt to bring some sanity back to the SOC, was a technology you've probably heard a lot about, SOAR. So what is SOAR exactly? It stands for Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. And the big idea behind it was pretty smart, actually. It was all about connecting all your different security tools and then automating all those repetitive manual tasks using these pre-written scripts, or as they're usually called, playbooks. And let's be fair, SOAR was a huge leap forward. I mean, for all those known repetitive jobs, checking a suspicious IP against a threat feed or automatically blocking a bad domain, it was an absolute game changer. It took all that boring manual work off the table and made sure those basic responses happen the same way every single time, really consistent. But, and there's always a but, right? Here's the catch. The bad guys, they don't follow your playbook. And as attacks got smarter and more unpredictable, well, the cracks in this rigid, rules-based system really started to show. And pretty soon, the big industry analysts like Gartner started picking up on a change. Companies were saying, hey, we need more than just these strict playbooks. They needed automation that could think on its feet, something more flexible and adaptive than what a standard SOAR platform could give them. And this slide really nails the core issue. A SOAR playbook is only as smart as the rules you write for it. So what does that mean? It means constant, tedious updates to keep up with new attacks. But even more important, it can't reason. It can't adapt. So yeah, it can see a weird login from a new country and flag it. But it has no way of knowing if that's a real attacker or just Bob from accounting on a business trip. And guess who has to figure that out? Yep, an already burned out human analyst. So this big limitation, this inability to reason, it basically set the stage for the next giant leap in security. And this is where a new hero enters the story. The AI SOC analyst. And listen, this isn't just about doing the same automation, but faster. No, this is a totally different way of thinking about security. So what's the big difference here? It's so important to get this. SOAR automates tasks. An AI SOC analyst automates entire investigations. See the difference? Instead of just blindly following a script, it uses reasoning. It's actually thinking. It's pulling together data from all your different tools, your SIEM, your EDR, you name it, to see the whole picture. And it changes its approach as it finds new clues, just like a human would. This means it can do the really deep dive analysis that a simple playbook could only dream of. We're talking about tracing complex execution chains, decoding those nasty, obfuscated scripts that attackers love to use, and spotting tiny changes in user behavior that might signal a compromise. Basically, it handles the whole shebang, from the first alert
all the way to a final, confident verdict, threat or no threat.
Okay, now it's really important to get this next part. This isn't about throwing your SOAR in the trash. Not at all. It's about making it way, way smarter. It's about creating this powerful team-up, this alliance, that takes the best of both AI and SOAR to build a security workflow that's just on another level. So check this out. Here's what that super smart workflow looks like. Step 1. SOAR does its thing. It kicks things off with the quick and dirty enrichment it's great at, checking IPs, hashes, the basics. But then, and this is the magic part, it hands off the real work, the deep investigation, to the AI. The AI does all the heavy lifting, connecting all the dots. And only when the AI is sure, when it has a high-confidence verdict, does it pass the ball back to SOAR to actually execute the response, like, say, isolating a compromised machine. And the results of this tag team? They are, frankly, incredible. We're talking about organizations slashing their mean time to respond, that's a huge metric, by up to 80%. And get this, the day-to-day workload for those frontline analysts, it can drop by as much as 90%. This isn't just about being a little more efficient. This is a massive strategic shift that frees up your best people to do the work that really matters. Which, of course, leads us to the big looming question, right? If you have all this amazing AI and automation handling the noise, what happens to the human analyst?
So is the human analyst going extinct? Absolutely not even close. See, this technology was never about replacing people. It's about upgrading them. It's about elevating their role. When the AI handles all the repetitive grunt work, the value of human intuition and expertise just moves way, way up the stack.
Think about it. The analyst of tomorrow isn't just closing tickets. No way. They are an automation architect. They're a proactive threat hunter. They're a strategic advisor. Their job is now about designing and tuning these autonomous systems. They're taking raw threat intelligence and turning it into creative, proactive hunts. And crucially, they're the ones who can explain a technical risk in a way the board actually understands. And when that AI finds something really, really bad and escalates it, they're the calm, decisive voice in the storm. So this whole shift completely transforms the job. It takes it from being a major source of burnout and turns it into one of the most high-value, strategic roles in the entire company. It's not just a new tool, it's a total redefinition of what a security pro is and what they do. When you get down to it, the path forward is pretty clear. It's about combining that irreplaceable human gut feeling and expertise with this incredible partnership between AI and SOAR. When you do that, you don't just get a more efficient security operation, you get one that is fundamentally stronger and more resilient. So really, the question isn't if your SOC needs to change. The real question is, are you building a SOC for the past or for the future?